Good
Ladies
luck.
and yeah, good luck, everyone.
Oh, good luck, Stephen. Good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you tonight. We have a game that's gonna decide who the player is that's gonna go to the playoffs in the MML for season 5. We have the Slaan Seers being coached here by Josiah Frost against the White Owls being coached by the Stew. Two very good coaches, two very interesting teams. Shots, do you have anything to say about this game?
Well, the Seers, I believe, are new this season. Came up from the Challenge League ranks. The White Owls have been around for several seasons. That the Stew has been going with the Wood Elves for a while. So both teams finding their way to some pretty solid success. I know that the White Owls have been ever since they came into the league have had pretty good success, and the Seers have actually from what I've heard, have talked the coach into remaining a Lizardman coach for another season, from the sounds of it. So, his intentions were originally to swap to Necro, and with the success that they've had, may have talked him into signing up for another year of Lizardman. So, it goes to speak of the quality of both these teams they've been around the league and look to be continuing, into the next season.
Yeah. And also, I think that White House, yeah, they're continuing as well. I think.
Last I heard, yeah, the league has actually changed the requirements for returning teams so that they don't have to have 11 players to return, that they can return with loaners, that their team value will be adjusted for that to prevent any min maxing or bloat in that manner. But it does allow for the lower armor value teams to continue to stay in the league and keep that dynasty going, even if they can't field a full 11-man roster. So it's something that's exciting to see.
Yeah, we have that. I mean, the White House is going to have that problem here for sure. I mean, they've been losing lots of players during this season here.
Yeah, the White Owls. I have to imagine the White Owls had a pretty rough season, and the Blitzkriegers also had a rough season. The play pool, depending on when they played teams, had three dwarf teams in the beginning, with the Shock and Or bowing out midway through the season. So there was three dwarf teams, a chaos team, and then a Green Tide Titans team that is very dangerous, and then the Slant Seers being another bashier team. So only two real high agility teams. Really, the Wood Elves did a great job hanging in there, and you know. And making making it get through the season, but also keeping themselves in playoff contention. So, I mean, they definitely ran through the gauntlet and came out the other side looking pretty good, because I mean they do field quite a few loners, but they were able to protect the high value players. Looking at the feed, it looks like the White Owls picked up a wizard and
And a star
also a
player.
star player.
This is interesting.
So yeah, and it looks like they're going to start off on defense too. So this could be interesting, allowing the Sorai to bash a little bit coming out of the blocks. Hopefully that plus movement tree is able to weather some of the storm and tie up some of these Sorai, because it's to the point where this group of Sorai have really done a pretty good job developing, that they all have block now, and even the Crocs picked up block earlier this season. So you are looking at a Lizardman team that does bring 7 skinks to the field, and then a full assortment of Sorai and Crocs, all prepared with block. Another thing that quickly stands out is that you see that they do field 3 4 agility skinks. One of those actually has leap, and that skink, I believe, has a double niggle. So any hit on that player could be the last hit. So he's been a threat for the offense for quite a while here, and every game appears like it might be his last. So it could be one of those where he dives in a glorious leap to his demise, or maybe one of these Wood Elves will get a hold of him.
Yeah, and
But
I can see Josiah using those two niggles to his advantage. Actually, just putting that player in, doing those risky things that you maybe don't want to risk with your other skinks. So yeah, if you lose him, you lose him.
well, and diving tackle's a nice skill to have in a game like this too. A lot of times coaches will lose track of the diving tackle player or simply forget about the diving tackle skill. It's a lot like with me. I like to surf players, and I for some reason always seem to miss the sidestep.
Oh, and that's a harsh beginning there. One of the loners directly gets injured, and yeah, he's
Yeah,
played his first, second, and
that
last second in this team.
yeah, didn't really show up very long for this one, but you know, we'll see if maybe the armor holds up a little bit better on the second loner.
Yeah, and we have an armor break,
And
another armor break, and that's a stun. And I mean, this is what the lizards are going to be looking for. I mean, they receiving the ball here to get a chance to bash down these players a bit. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game here to see how the first turns here pan out.
well, I think the big turning point in this game is going to most likely be the wizard and how effective the wizard can be. It's going to force the lizardmen to be at least a little bit more creative with their cage than they normally would. Maybe spreading it out some, trying to use a little misdirection or something like that. But it's definitely one of those things where the wizard really can make or break a game. Another thing that stands out is both teams right now are fielding 5 rerolls apiece, so that'll help to keep turnovers at a minimum.
That's for sure, yeah. And we can say one thing here. This is not. There's only 2 real star players, I would say, here in this game, except for the skinks, and that is the little. I mean the Sornir and the Milnor. The other players in the White House have been taking a beating, and they don't really have those high skilled up players.
Yeah, and they do quite a bit with a little bit there. I know that they've been slowly building back. They're constantly under threat of losing a player. They play a real aggressive style of ball, and it's one of those where they've come to recognize, you know, the fact that a lot of times the team that they walk into a game with isn't going to be the same team they walk they walk away with. So they have to take a little bit different approach to the game than a lot of other teams do. So, I mean, they play that aggressive wood elf style ball where, you know, they're going to put themselves in bad situations sometimes, and you know, losing a loner or a player sometimes is part of the cost of getting the win that they look for. So.
Yeah,
It almost looks like they're trying to bait the wizard out early. They're throwing a ton of players in a group here. They may be doing this on purpose, trying to get the wizard used early and get it out of play.
and even if the wizard is used, I mean, as long as their war dancer Mildor is on the pitch, he's still a threat. I mean, these skinks don't have sure hands, and he can grab the ball away from them even in a cage with a leap ability.
Well, I'm looking at they loaded up that box, and this is perfect for a fireball here, and they're going to hold off. They could have hit six players with a fireball at that point, and they show a little bit of patience with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, was that the right decision or the wrong decision? I mean, the fireball can, of course, you never know if it's going to work, but that was a good opportunity right there.
It would have been difficult for me not to use the fireball in a situation where you can catch 6 players. It's one of those where most of the time, if you're attacking a full cage, you're hitting 5. Hitting 6 is a bit of a rarity. But at the same point, using it turn 1, it definitely changes the pace of the rest of the game. There's always the eternal talk of the threat of the wizard as opposed to the effect of the wizard. A lot of times the threat of the wizard can be, you know, it can force a team to play differently, play more cautiously. Maybe they don't, you know, potato or sideline cage as much, that kind of stuff.
And you can also play very offensively. I mean, you can play aggressively now because you can have a lightning bolt on that player that maybe gets free. So, I mean, there's a tactical decision here.
The only other thing that I think about with it is that if it does hit, and let's say you get an injury or even a couple of KOs with it, it can really change the whole course of this drive.
Is the assist going to be enough to come out on top?
I mean, we might still see it like in the next turn or the turn after. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's one of those where you know, the treeman standing up, that's a guaranteed thing with the plus movement, so it does allow them to stall a bit longer. So this may be something where they're looking for a juicier target, maybe to get a couple extra players, or to you know, get an opening where they can scoop and run with it instead of just fireballing and not having any you know, exit strategy with it.
Yeah, that Crocs Lanta is that's a rare Crocs with block there, and that really comes in handy for that block there.
Well, and they used a blitz on it also. A little surprising with that. They looks like they're trying to move the cage some.
And they want to
really
put the tail there.
Lead with that Crocs, yeah. So they put the tail on the War Dancer, but I'm not sure if a lot of fans know, but the tail does not affect the leap ability. So it's a little aggravating to bring a tail over on a player and then have him jump away.
Yeah.
So it can lead to more leaping, you know, parking tail next to players, and the leap tends to be a little bit more risky of a play, but it's still a fairly high percentage move. I believe 67% on the standard War Dancer. So
that is standard, yeah.
Yeah, so it is, you know, a usable ability.
And it looks like they're trying to complete that cage with a skink.
Well, and they're leaving quite a bit of contact on that. I have to imagine, yeah, they're gonna put a little bit more effort into this, but yeah, it looks like they're looking for a bit of a cage on the side there.
And this is quite a new Lizard team. They don't have that many guard pieces. They only have the Crocs, I believe, that have guard here. So I mean, it's quite a difficult position.
Yeah, they have a lot of skill in their skinks. You know, I highlighted earlier the abundance of AG4 on their skinks, and that'll help them long term. The ball carrier right now actually has block and dodge, so that'll make it a little bit more difficult. But with a, I believe, strip ball on the one War Dancer, not having sure hands will come back to haunt them. And again, this is one of those situations where they're putting 6 players in that vicinity, where a fireball at this point, it feels like the Lizardman team are taunting the Wood Elves into using a fireball, you know, in this first half.
And we also have the star player here with Hypnotic Gaze, which is a very interesting skill we don't see a lot in Blood Bowl 2.
And there it is.
What's going to happen here?
1, 2,
oh,
only 2 players down, no major injuries. That does open up a corner of the cage for a walk-in blitz on the skink, and that would be a 2-die with block and strip ball. So only thing to worry about at that point is a both down, and I
when the ball
bounces,
bounces,
are pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and with so many players, you know, are already marked up, that ball scatter can go quite a ways.
And we also have the situation here where I think the White Owls only have to tie this game to get the playoffs, and the Lizards here, the Slaan Seers, they actually have to win this one. And that might affect how we see this game being played. I mean, MML coaches always want to win, but we might see some different tactics.
Well, that's I believe it was season.
That is a perfect bounce. It couldn't be better.
Yeah, I believe it was season 3 or 4. That it must have been 3. Season 3, Coach Caven and the Wrecking Crew only needed a tie against me, and it was really to the point where they caged up, knowing they just needed the tie, and they stalled it away 8 turns, just happy to sit in a cage and not move, keeping the ball protected. You know, not going for the win, but going for the playoff berth, knowing that that's all they needed. So we have seen coaches in the past sometimes take that approach, knowing that they only need a tie, or even just, you know, protecting their players to, if they've already locked up playoffs. So it's one of those where we could see some approach like that in this game. The biggest danger with that is like with the Wood Elves, you know, playing that just need a tie game. You know, playing any differently may take away from their ability to, you know, actually function as normal. I think with their aggressive play style that they're going to want to keep going with that approach, just simply because doing something different could be dangerous. You know, if they do make mistakes, it could be, you know, basically because they're trying to do too much with things they're not used to.
Yeah, I mean, as an elf team, you're only that double one usually away from losing the ball and having a hard time getting it back. So, yeah. It's very. I mean, if the tables were turned and the Slaan Seers were the ones needing the tie, we could see they could probably defend the ball a lot better with this strength advantage and the Crocs with guard and everything. I don't see the Elves here having the same possibility to actually just stall the game out for a tie, and I think we're going to see them trying to score as many goals as possible here.
Well, and with the fireball and threat of the wizard gone now, I think you're going to see the lizard. You know, the lizardmen are going to go back to their cage. They're going to throw a bunch of hits. I mean, they're going to use their strength advantage and numbers advantage at this point to the, you know, the best possible outcome they can find.
Yeah, and they put in Tlaxpita. I have no idea how to pronounce that name.
I don't even make an attempt on these lizard teams. If it's not a name that I commonly would be able to pronounce, I don't even put in the effort to try and do it, because they are some real tongue twisters. Yeah,
they try to use their mighty blow piece there anyway to get that word answer, that star player down, and it didn't really work out. They even used a vanity reroll there, still same result.
Yeah, and they're bringing that tail piece back into play again. So far, the Crocs have been well behaved. I think they're going to continue to put as many tackle zones on players as they can. The White Owls are taking a pretty traditional approach towards wood elfing and really dodging away and not trying to load up and not trying to load up and do much else. So the danger here is that they have left the ball behind at this point, and they don't have a reroll. So if this pickup fails, this could be a real adventurous next turn, depending on a ball scatter.
Yeah, and
successful pickup,
they're very lucky there.
And that is the double niggled skink with leap there. So with no fear of fireball now, they're loading up a full cage here.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, with no leap, if the Wood Elves can't even leap in there, they have no chance of getting that ball, and they're gonna have to think of some different tactics here to stop that leaping one.
Well, the only thing I could think is if they hypnotic gaze the eye of the tiger and then somehow leap in the backside of the cage or mark players up to get into the backside of the cage. But yeah, it's a solid it's a cage that even dwarves can admire and respect. So it's
and they have a bit of a screen on the outside of the cage too that stops them from actually leaping in a good way here.
Yeah, it would be difficult to get a clean block on the player now. With the leap ability, they could make an attempt, but
it's gonna be a 2 red.
I think it's 1 die, 2 red. It's one of those where it's not gonna be to their liking making that attempt.
And I don't really see Stu that many times to actually go for that 2 red die. He likes to have the opportunity to actually get 1 die at least.
Yeah, and it looks like they're setting up their screens again. But yeah, right now it's looking to the point where they do have skinks that could make the distance with 1 go for it right now. So this is one of those where I can't imagine the Lizardmen are in too big of a rush to score. They have taken one player off the field already, and you know that puts the White Owls down to 11 players. That they did get to 12 players total with the mercenary star player. So they do have 1 extra player, but this is going to be one of those where the Lizardmen are going to try and get the numbers advantage long term here.
Yeah.
And the Crocs failing with that tail again. That's got to be rather frustrating for the Seers to see that tail not triggering.
At the moment, I think they're quite happy anyway. I mean, they're in a good position. They basically only have to blitz out with 1 player every turn here. Try to get 1 injury or something, and then move up slowly.
Yeah, and this is going to be one of those where, with the tree slowly sneaking up on that backside of that cage, may gum up the works a bit. They may have to actually try and do another attack on the tree. And
We're
it
seeing
looks
a
like they're
brave
loading
skink.
up on him now.
And that is not
Looks
going to
like
do
this
much.
is a push.
That player is a real
And he stands firm, so they're going to have to keep chopping wood here. Looks to be another attack coming from the opposite side, and this one will be effective. White tree goes down.
But he's
He'll
going to high
be
up
jumping.
3 players.
Yeah, he'll be jumping back up the next turn. So this is what a lot of the Wood Elf coaches like about the treemen is that if they can force the other team to throw hits on him, that AV-10 is difficult to break. It's difficult to get that tree off the field, and it absorbs a lot of blocks and ties up a lot of players. So
I had a problem when I played Stu.
Mighty Blowed.
This Sunday I played Stu, and that tree, he just nullified one of my mummies the whole game, basically. It's a very hard one. If you can't break armor, he's just going to mark your player up again when he stands up.
Yeah, and that's where that movement plus comes in real handy, because they no longer have to roll the dice to actually stand them up. They still have to roll for take root, but that's that with 3 movement, it's an automatic stand.
Oh, we're seeing a foul here.
They're getting a skink foul, but they're going tree hunting to the fullest.
That's not a bad idea here.
Well, it's difficult though. It's one of those where they're still looking for a 7+ on that foul. A lot better than your chances with a straight up attack, but yeah, that's one of those where they're going to have issues, because they're going to have to chop the tree back down and start over again.
Yeah, the tree can be a very intimidating and a very annoying piece to be up against. I'm actually even a bit surprised that we didn't see any blitz from the tree. I don't know where the blitz is going to come from here, but it might have been an opportunity to take out one skink there and move the tree up in position to have contact with the ball carrier.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to find a free spot to attack the cage. So yeah, that may have been a slight issue there. Only thing I could think is if they would risk the hypnotic gaze, possibly. If bringing that in and using hypnotic gaze on a player, if that may hypnotic gaze on, say, the Crocs to get rid of that guard piece, they may be able to dive into the cage, but it's still one of those with so many lizardmen in the area. Depending on the ball scatter, if it drops into the right spot, they're no further ahead. So.
Yeah. For those people listening in here and don't know anything about hypnotic gaze, do you care to explain how it works?
I'll try to explain how it works a bit, and I'll do that by kind of reading up on it quick here. But best I recall of hypnotic gaze, I believe it was an agility roll, -1, and what it basically does is it takes the tackle zones and guard zones and all that off of the player that it's successful on, until that player does a move again.
And we have an expert here.
Exactly. Basically, it just gives you the possibility. It makes the player stupid. We can just put it that way. He loses everything as a stupid player. You need to have a 3+, well, an agility roll, -1 for every tackle zone, including the tackle zone of the player that you are hypnotic gazing. So that's why it becomes a 3+ with this player automatically, and then it's a 4+ if he's in another tackle zone, and it goes on and on.
Oh, okay.
And
might be that this coach is listening in.
Now he's been targeted.
Yep. And he's
going to be KO'd.
And that,
so no longer hypnotic gaze is an issue to worry about for the lizardmen. They put the tree down again. They've taken the hypnotic gaze off the field, and this is looking like the lizardmen are happy, just slowly picking away at the numbers, jumping.
Yeah, but they're moving up now, so
this
is very good. It's a very good move here they're doing. They're gonna construct a new cage, and it's gonna be in scoring distance. It's gonna be very hard to stop.
Well, the biggest advantage is that they're leaving the treemen behind now, so they free up all those players to escape into this new cage and possibly even start marking up more players or changing their approach to get more hits.
Yeah, exactly.
The biggest danger that they really have at this point is they still have to try and protect the skinks to a certain extent. So I have to imagine they're going to keep tucking them inside the cage wherever they can fit a gap or something on the lines of that. But yeah, they've done a good job so far of protecting the ball. The only thing that's really gotten a clean attack on the ball so far was the fireball, and even that the ball scatter wasn't what they wanted when the War Dance did pop it loose after the fireball. So yeah, so far it's been cage tactics by the Lizardmen, and a display on how to protect the ball, really.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly how Lizardmen usually play. It is a very effective method. I mean, those skinks are there for the offense more than the defense. I mean, for the defense more than the offense. And the Seers is just cage up and guard one of these skinks to the finish line.
Yeah, and the biggest surprise is that they haven't really. I mean, besides attacking the ball carrier the one time, they haven't taken and had a lot of opportunities to get hits on the skinks in general. Looks like they're marking up a corner of the cage here. They may be trying a cage dive in this one. They could be approaching from the back of this cage, is where their star war dancer is, but I don't know if he has a real clean landing spot at this point.
You have the front position there where he can get in, and the guard piece is not really in position to stop him or help him there. So if they can mark up some players here, it's gonna be at least a one. It's probably gonna be a red 2-die in a way here.
Depending on how much they commit to it, yeah. He could come in right in front of the Crocs' face and leap 2 squares into that that top corner of the cage.
Oh, we're not seeing that.
No, he's making a move. It looks like they're repositioning one more time.
So
a lot of rerolls still on the table here. That they have 5 rerolls and only 4 turns to use them in. So I have to imagine that if we do have any failed dodges or stuff like that they could use a reroll. It's pretty much a free reroll at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, we're gonna see the
now they're gonna attack a skink, and this is a tackle player,
piece,
so this will push a few players around some.
And they're looking for that chain push here.
Yeah, and that's with sidestep. That skink's gonna stay in a pretty safe location.
Yeah.
And they dodge back out, so they are gonna start targeting the skinks a bit here. It looks so. Yeah, this is normally if a team comes in with the basic 4 skinks, taking out a skink or 2 can really change the pace of the game and positioning of the players. But at this point, the Slaan Seers they walk in with a full 7 pack of skinks, and all of them fairly well skilled. I believe there's only one that is unskilled, and that's the Overseer Mark II.
Yeah,
so,
and at this moment,
every other skink has skill.
At this moment, they have an easy score here, Slaan Seers, but I don't think you're gonna take it. I think we're gonna see a stall for a couple more turns.
Yeah, this is one of those where there's no real pressure to score at this point. They have the rerolls. They have high agility skinks that can that can pick the ball up if something should happen. So I'm not sure if they will.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, without seeing a War Dancer jump into the cage, there's no real attack on the ball that they safely can sit within their cage, take 1 blitz a turn, and just slowly go hit for hit, just one at a time, picking picking little by little at the Wood Elves. So it does look like they're going to mark up the skilled War Dancer, trying to force another dodge and attacking the Loner. So they're leaning heavily on that Mighty Blow attack.
Yeah, they're trying to reduce the numbers for sure here. A very interesting player on the field here is Swornerd. He have both block and wrestle to be able to take care of those blitzes against him when he's upfield, and he is going to be marked otherwise maybe by a dangerous piece, and he can just choose to wrestle him down, pick the ball up next turn, and run in with it. So
Well, yeah, it's a lot of people will look at that as a wasted skill at having both block and wrestle, and I would tend to agree with that in most situations. But it's one of those where being one of the league's main touchdown receiving threats in this season, I think it comes to play as a little bit of a mad science genius approach where sometimes he's able to take the wrestle and then still get up and have the distance to go to the end zone.
Exactly.
Where most players, if you take the wrestle, I mean they drop down and then you're stuck down there. It would be interesting to see if maybe they looked at possibly going with jump up instead of block. But it's an interesting combination of being able to use him as sometimes as an attack piece, or other times just to keep him standing up so that he that he doesn't have to pass a jump up or anything like that.
Yeah, I would guess that's for the situations when you get marked up by two guys on each side, and the blitz comes up as a block, and you would have been stuck between those two players with the only option of dodging out in a dangerous way. You can choose the wrestle option there, and you opens up one of the sides, and you can pick up the ball and run away.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a combination of skills that you're not going to see much, but it kind of becomes one of those where in this league, players have had to slowly start to adapt to different situations more and more.
And that tail is working, and that's a KO.
Yeah, and that was the tackle piece, if I saw right. So, with the tackle off the table now, it makes it a little bit safer for the Skinks to venture out some. And the Crocs is gonna move forward, putting the tail back on the War Dancer, and just slowly creeping this cage forward one step at a time now. I mean, this is a situation where if the Sorai chose, they could pin these players in with a blitz and really make it difficult for the Wood Elves to avoid getting surfed in turn 8 possibly.
Yeah, there's options here for Lizards for sure.
Nothing must be holding him up.
Yeah, having that last turn cut short is gonna leave a few more opportunities to hit Wood Elves around. So the Wood Elves surprisingly still haven't used the reroll. Looks like that they're at 5 still, and the Seers are at 4. So both teams really happy with the dice they've gotten so far, and just the armor dice are the only ones that really have had a major impact.
Yeah, we only seen one from the Seers there, a vanity reroll, when they tried to attack the War Dancer, Milnor.
Yeah, and that's a high value target, so it's definitely no surprise that they would want to use that. And here comes the Mighty Blow attack again, and they're going for the War Dancer this time. Going to be a successful Mighty Blow attack on the War Dancer. I know somewhere Harry Warthog is getting the tingles up his spine. He loves seeing War Dancers getting attacked.
And they didn't go for any surfing option here, which is interesting.
Well, I think with pinning the War Dancer in deeper, it'll make it a little bit less comfortable to try and stand up, leap, do stuff like that possibly.
Yeah.
Also takes away some opportunities for marking. So yeah, I think right now they're just they're looking to lock up that turn 8 touchdown. Take away any options to leap blitz with any major success. One thing that we have noticed is that Slick and Dirty, the elf catcher, is still lingering upfield. If they can get the ball, that he should still have enough movement. That if somehow they can pop it loose and shuffle it forward, that in 2 turns he does have the distance to go. Oh, and we're gonna get
another foul. Yeah, and that's a dead one.
Oh, that's a dead War Dancer at this point. I don't know if they're gonna be willing to use the apothecary on the unskilled War Dancer.
No.
Oh, and somewhere in this world, Harry Warthog just started smiling for no apparent reason. He is unaware of why he wears such a large smile, but just like happiness has abounded him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking ahead about White Owl's next season. It's gonna be a very interesting. It's gonna be a rebuilding season for sure.
Well, we were looking at the team. They still have a lot of the pieces that they need. They have a skilled catcher. Oh, and they're not done yet. They're marking up like if they want to do a cage dive here.
Yeah, and I mean,
I guess at this point it's fairly safe that any blocks that the Seers throw are higher risk. And he's moved into place. And the leap, successful leap.
Again, Mr. Reroll for the hit.
So,
and that's
it's going to be a successful hit.
A very successful one.
So it'll be interesting. They go with the both down, and skillfully he bobbles it. Oh, and unfortunately it lands in the. Well, they don't want him to have the ball because they need to be able to get the scatter outside the cage. Unfortunately, it drops into a hand, the hand of a high agility skink, and he's just smiling from ear to ear. He was watching his friend most likely getting the touchdown, and all of a sudden, in a turn of events, looks like he's now going to get the touchdown. So,
I think I would use the reroll anyway. I mean, because he's a block sidestep one, and they're lacking tackle in the Slaan Seers. He could have survived that one and stopped the Slaan Seers from scoring.
I think the Wood Elves were looking at a touchdown there, and they were thinking the ball's going to scatter out and they'll get a chance to scoop it up and throw it upfield to the catcher, and then then they were looking for that touchdown. This is one of those where the Wood Elf teams they have to have these really large grandiose plans to how they're going to get their touchdowns, because a lot of times they have to play a riskier style, and when they play that way, it's one of those where it's high risk, high reward. So the risk of not using the reroll is that now they're in this situation where their ward answer is going to get attacked several times and ultimately probably get smashed into a small little piece.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that they went with the Crocs first here, though. I mean, if that had come up double skulls, and that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, but this is one of those where they've up and 3-die block, and it's still one of those where they're not getting a whole lot of help there. And that was that choice we were looking at. They had the choice to take wrestle or block on that, and chose to keep the catcher standing.
Yep.
So it looks like they're.
And they had one guy already fouled to death here, so I guess they don't want to put him on the ground, even if it's turn 8.
Yeah, they've proved that. That and that player is still protecting the ball carrier. So
yeah,
we may be seeing some kind of shuffling of the skinks here to free up a player or something, but it almost looks like they're going to need to somehow get that war dancer pushed one more square over to free up an alley for the. Oh no, the skink moving over is actually going to block that.
They have the other side to run to. I mean, it's agility 4 dodger. He can get out from there by moving one skink. Yeah, not even moving the skink actually. He can just run into score right now.
Now they're going to continue to swing on this war dancer now. At this point, it's almost like they're pot committed that I gotta imagine they're gonna probably take a blitz on him with the Mighty Blow player next. Oh, they can't get him all the way around. So.
They have another Saurus free for a blitz. Okay, we're seeing a blitz anyway here, and that's a successful one.
Be a successful Mighty Blow on the last word answer they have on the team right now. It's alive, and that's gonna lead to a stun.
I don't believe we're gonna see much more here. So we're gonna see attempt at a touchdown now. And that's a double.
Oh, a double. That was diving tackle firing.
Diving tackle,
like I was
saying. Yep.
Like I was saying earlier, that's one of those skills where it's easy to forget. I didn't even notice that the catcher had diving tackle, and that's gonna save the touchdown.
Yeah.
And that would explain why he went with the block on the on that attack instead of the wrestle. Kept the diving tackle player in place and saves the touchdown. So, yeah, this is one of those where where the the Wood Elf coach knew better than us, because I didn't even notice the dive tackle on the catcher.
No, I was an amazing defense there from the White House. They waited until last second. They ran up their most important player probably in this team, marked up the ball carrier, getting some hits on him, shoots the block and away, and dive tackles him to the ground. I mean, amazing play there.
Yeah, that was one of those where, like I was saying, I was highlighting the skink on the diving tackle, and I was sitting here for 8 turns staring at a second diving tackle player and didn't even notice it. So I'm not sure if the skink saw it coming or not, but that was one where it definitely took me by surprise. So I give the Wood Elves credit there with coming up with a huge stop there and keeping hope alive for them to get this win.
Yeah, and they have 9 players on the pitch now, which isn't bad after an offensive run from Seers against them.
Yeah, the star player still KO'd, but I mean, this is one of those where the Wood Elves are, with having 9 players, they're able to probably get their touchdown a little bit sooner than they really need, and then still have enough, hopefully, to play a bit of defense. But I mean, this is one of those where Frost has done a good job protecting his skinks and hasn't suffered any real damage. So this is one of those where they still they still have all their key players. If they can get the ball out of the hands of the Wood Elves, that they can still keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah.
So far it's been two teams that are a little bit more offensive minded have kind of taken a little bit slower, methodical approach to this game.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial here that the Seers get the ball away before the White House score here. Otherwise, we might be looking at a tie or a win for the Owlz, and that's going to put the Seers out of the playoff position.
Yeah, well, I think at this point you're really you got to be nervous if you're either of the coaches thinking about what kind of chaotic kickoff event may happen to you and just throw this game into an absolute different gear where if we're looking at perfect defense or a blitz or I mean far be it from me to predict a rock or a pitch invasion or something like that, but I mean you look at most of the kickoff events that could happen, and it's one of those where in a 0-0 tie, any number of them could be just an absolute game changer. I mean, even something as simple as the weather changing can abruptly change. Yeah, can abruptly change the outlook of this game. So, and the kick.
Yeah, that was what you were saying right there.
And it hits the one player you can't have it hit. It takes the deep man out of it. The thrower will get up after a bit, but yeah, that does put a little bit of a reverse to this offense. But they're going to have to approach the ball a little bit more carefully, and this is going to allow more of the Lizardmen to flood in because it's gonna pull 2 players back where normally they'd be able to put more offensive pressure on.
Oh, and they're going for attack here on one of the skinks.
Yeah, the skink hunt is on.
Still no luck with
They're
Owlz.
happy to get that tackle piece back because I think he's going to be busy tormenting the skinks at this point. They don't want to leave any extra skinks out there. If they can get a free hit on one of these AG4 skinks, they'll be glad to take that hit and hope for an armor break.
Yeah, and that lineman there is built like a true blitzer.
Yeah, he's been doing quite a bit of the heavy lifting, picking up blodge and then putting on that extra little tackle ability that's going to come in handy when they come across these skinks or other elves even. Where other than that, we don't see a lot of elf teams load up on tackle much. A lot of the slower, bashier teams will see them load up several players with tackle, but a lot of times you don't see the dark elves or wood elves or even high elves for that matter really picking up on tackle. That they rely on their mobility to hunt down the players that. So Looks like we've got the War Dancer back playing thrower for the time being until the stun thrower can get back up.
It's a good piece
And,
to have the ball with against a team with no tackle. So I mean, a sidestep and dodge is a good one there.
Yeah, and even if something should happen, if he does get attacked, he does have that jump up ability to save the blitz for possible other purposes. So Loner fails to dodge out. Sorai quickly clawing him to the ground. So this is going to leave a whole lot of lizards to shuffle around.
This game is not over.
Oh no, this is one of those where if you were going to tell the Wood Elves that they were going to walk into halftime 0-0 getting the ball, I have to imagine they got to be pretty happy about that, especially if you let them know that they're going to have 9 players. The downside of that is that you're looking at a full strength Lizardman team with with talented skinks that can just as easily intercept as they can come upfield and attack. So
yeah.
I mean that AG4 uncovered is a pretty good interception proposition.
Oh, we see a vanity reroll here.
Well, and I don't know if that's so much a vanity reroll. That does make it a little bit more difficult to get that player out of that area. That they may try and box him in after what they saw that he can easily do to some of the skinks. So that may be one of those where they want to keep an eye on him and try and protect their high value skinks.
But they also have to move off the pitch here, really. I mean, if they can't get the ball away, the Wood Elves can quite happily just stay there with the ball the rest of the game.
And it looks like they're marking up a few players. It's a high value mark on these loners because the Stu hasn't shown that he's gonna burn rerolls on loners. So yeah, if a loner fails something, it's probably gonna stay failed.
Oh yeah, I believe so too. At least until turn 5 or 13 or 14 something.
Looks like the low value skink going back, marking up the catcher. I'd imagine they're going to repeat that process with another one on the other catcher. Fairly safe to mark up these catchers. No, looks like they're going to load up the interception party here for. And no, they do throw the sidestep skink over there. So looks like that would be a 1-die block if they chose to try and go after the sidestep skink, but no real clear. Pats out of this situation for the Wood Elves.
If you do that blitz, you have a hard time of getting out of there, I think. They can't reach the finishing line. Or can they? They can with the sprint.
The thrower stands up, but it doesn't look like he's going to move.
That's a very interesting move there. He might be... that means that the War Dancers might be staying up there.
Well, and that's one of those where I'm not sure the mobility on the skink, but the skinks pretty much can cover a large area that it's going to be difficult for this War Dancer to find a safe location with the Sorai cutting off half the field and skinks chasing them up the other half. It's going to take a pretty impressive screen, or maybe they're just planning on marking the Sorai and then moving the War Dancer over. But even with that, a blitz could stalk down that. Could stalk down the War Dancer. So this is an interesting set of moves here.
Yeah, and Girdley here is asking in the Twitch chat, 10th game, will the pressure get to the coaches? And I think that's a very valid question at this moment. I mean, this game is turned a bit strange, to be honest, with no score in the first half, and the Wood Elves a bit on the back there because that's the thrown rock. They had to move some players back, so it's a bit different than we expected, I think.
Yeah, I think the first half of this game was a bit of checkers. They're just kind of moving pieces around, having a good time in that. And I think once that rock hit, and it really opened up the 0-0 game to be anybody's, I think both teams kind of ratcheted everything down and tightened up, and now they've got their thinking hats on, and they're trying to come up with every kind of scenario that they can And you know, we're seeing that because time is running down. We're down to 5 seconds, it looks like, and the Wood Elves still haven't really completed their turn.
Oh, they're
And
putting
I've
in
got
there.
0 seconds, so I don't know if there's a connection issue or something like that,
I
possibly.
have 2 seconds left here.
Yeah, mine's frozen at 0, so I don't know if
That's
yeah, and
turn
now it's
10.
back up to 15, 4 seconds now. So yeah, looks like they're making a few last second moves, and that's gonna leave the word answer in position to get marked up still by that front skink. So yeah, it looks like last second catch up move, and we get our first bonehead on the Crocs.
And a very disastrous one there. It's always disastrous when they bonehead.
Well, luckily there's enough support pieces in the area they can still mark up the catchers, but yeah, not having that tail is going to be a bit of an issue for them.
Yeah, and they are looking at marking up the last guy if they want to mark up everyone with 2 skinks. I think that could prove dangerous.
Dodge in effect here, and that's gonna keep the catcher close to the end zone and still standing. So, unsuccessful blitz by the block Mighty Blow Sorai.
And let's not forget that they have so many AG4 pieces standing here between in the passing lane to that catcher. So it's an interesting situation anyway. They can...
Wow, and those skinks are going to multiply in the near future here. That they're going to get a lot closer, and it's really one of those where there's not going to be a free spot, I think, to cleanly throw it through. That you know, a few extra pieces on the field really goes a long way when you're a Wood Elf team and you have to try and protect the ball and get that throw off. So
yeah, we see some successful blocks here on these guys, and that's a KO, and that's an important one.
Yeah, but the bigger thing is are they going to end up marking the thrower, or are they going to just try and set up a screen? Because it's one of those where if the thrower gets that ball, it makes these longer throws that much easier.
Wow, White Elves are having a tough turn here.
Yeah, and that's the loners have just really they've put in their half game that you expect out of them, and they've taken the armor off. They're taking every hit. Yeah, even the star player that they hired has evacuated. So the only loner that's left out there is one that's currently down. That this is going to be yep. Looks like they're going to mark up the thrower. This is going to be a lot more difficult because you know their line and all ability to screen is gone.
Yeah,
and
they can't really mark up those Sauruses anymore. So they're gonna be running around freely, and they're quite fast Sauruses. So
and
that's
they
a mark
up the.
Yep.
So I have to think if they're gonna make an attempt to throw at this point, it's gonna be difficult because they can't make a full length throw. That they would be looking at the. Oh gosh, I hate to say it, but if they're looking at a throw clean over, that they have to be seeing if maybe they get enough distance that they can throw to the lineman and then run the lineman in. But I think you're looking at the word answer leaping over the skink to get out of the situation, running up as far as he can, and then just lobbing it over the top of a Sorai, and just crossing his fingers and hoping because.
And a very game deciding moment.
And this is one of those where all of the good. Oh no, they're coming up with something different now. Oh, they've retracted the linemen.
I find Skew a very interesting coach to watch because he never does what I think he's gonna do.
Yeah, and that's one of those where every time I watch a lot of our pro elf coaches, I learn something new about the abilities that these elves have. It's not just the high elves throwing. It's the wood elf throwing game is really impressive. Sometimes it's the dark elves. If you watch Stuntman Didi and his teams, just how aggressive that they can be and just the amazing plays they can pull off. But it's looking at this point that they look to be kind of bunching their players back up. That maybe they're looking to bring the ball into like about half field or something like that, and hold it for one more turn.
Yeah,
it could be something to the lines that they're going to try and get it close to the tree, and then hope that the tree can offer a little bit of help.
They have to move the player
got...
now. They only have 15 seconds left, so they have to do something with that ball carrier.
Oh,
see
they
the dodge
dodge
shot.
him clean through.
Oh, very gutsy.
So this puts them at a throwing distance now. It looks like.
Are they gonna throw the ball though? Yeah, might.
It's a bit risky, but at this point, leaving him that far back is dangerous. Getting the ball up further on the field will be a little bit more successful, and we get a successful pass, but that's going to leave the player open to attack.
It's down
and
to
the thrower's going skink hunting, and that was an attack on the double niggled skink. Does not break armor though.
Interesting.
I mean,
here.
I would hate to see what the injury percentage is on a double niggle skink. It's not a good feeling if that armor breaks, because that's going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah, that's for sure. What are we gonna see here? The Crocs. Is he really gonna blitz? Yeah, he does. No, he just moves up.
That wasn't a blitz. That was just a natural run that he got over his case of the bonehead. We could see the Mighty Blow Sorais in distance. It would take one go for it to get the attack, but I mean, he's got the measured distance at this point, and they do have the block skink in the area too, that he could come up and just throw just as effective of an attack at this point. That he does have the support piece with him, so you could see a skink with a two block attack, attack, or
a 3-die here.
Or the Sorai if they're trying to really do some damage.
I think they're looking at the 3-die here in some way.
Well, they definitely have the manpower to do it. They do have Sorai in the area that they can move around some. They can completely smother almost every player that the Wood Elves have left. The one surprising thing that I haven't seen is that the Treeman has had opportunities to make an attack on the block Sorai and has not. I think he's afraid of catching a both down situation and hurting his chances long term.
Yeah.
It's one of those where we haven't seen the mighty blow for the Wood Elves in effect. So they're going to pin in the War Dancer.
And pinning him is of course something you can do, but he has the leap ability, so.
Well, and it could be to the point where they're just trying to get the White Owls to use a reroll at some point that they really haven't needed to at all this game. They've only used one reroll so far that I can recall.
Yeah, only one reroll on the Wood Elf side. 5 seconds left, and we still.
And yeah, they've got to be bringing in the skink for the blitz now. Running short on time. Skink coming in with a 2-die block, attacking from the sideline.
Very interesting.
Oh, and this is going to be worst case scenario. I think they're gonna go with the push. Little surprised with that one. Keeping the tail on the players. Why they chose that attack angle, but running out of time, not able to move a couple of players there that they could have actually helped their chances by bringing in the Blodge Sorai from the far side.
Exactly.
Creating, But yeah, that was one of those where it took them quite a bit to get all their players coordinated to pinch in as many elves and to put pressure on them. That was one where Joe Fro used every second of that turn, and it looked like it was absolutely necessary because there wasn't an inch left to this field afterwards.
And they don't have any chance of taking that Crocs down, really, the Wood Elves at this point, so they must be looking at trying to dodge him out in some way here.
Well, it's one of those with 2 tackle zones on the player. It's not going to be easy. And then the other thing is that if they can somehow get a clean attack on that, if they can get a clean attack on the Sorai, that will open up an escape path for them. And the attack on the Skink actually opens up some mobility also. Now, I don't think that he can back up and still make it the distance, so they may be looking at dodging the catcher out, putting the catcher into the end zone and possibly throwing at him. So they do back out.
Yeah.
That does leave him. He has the distance. It's going to be 3 go for it, but he does have the sprint ability. I'm not sure if he has sure feet though. I don't see sure feet, so if he does fall, he will stay down if the reroll isn't successful. But I think he's measuring his distance right now and checking to see if he's safe or not.
Call it lightning.
Let's see.
And
He can only be marked up at this point.
and that is his full mobility now. And that looks to be another touchdown coming his way.
Yeah, the only thing that can stop him is a double one on his side now, if that Seers managed to get to him and mark him up.
And we're seeing Skinks get repositioned upfield some.
And that puts the White House, if they score here, they have a very good position. A tie brings them into the playoffs, and it's going to be hard for the Lizards to score 2 goals in 4 turns.
Yeah, so really at this point we're looking at one dice roll really to lock it up for them. I mean it's going to be 2 dice to get for the Sorai to get over there, but after that, if he is marked up, they've got that built-in reroll. That I have to imagine that's it's what 83% chance on the initial dodge, and then another built-in 83 reroll on it. So I mean you're looking at 90-some% success rate. Now that being said, this is a game of chance and double ones do happen, but I got to imagine that the White Owls are definitely liking their chances right now.
Yep.
And one more go for it, and he is marked up.
He is indeed. And we are going to probably see some more blocks being thrown here, because reducing those numbers is going to be essential if you want to try to get 2 goals against these Elves in 4 turns.
I hate to say it, but I think at this point, yeah, they're going to throw as many blocks as they can. I'm a little surprised that they moved the Blodge Skink. I was actually anticipating them throwing a foul on also.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that too.
Just to do everything that they can to get those numbers to their advantage. So they do still have 2 Skinks that have mobility, and they have a block or a blitz open. So here comes the blitz, and that is going to be the mighty blow. They've been leaning on that heavy. It hasn't been overly effective, but
these Elves are skilled up enough to survive most hits because they're the Blodge ability.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where did not see that double skull there. Didn't happen. Pay no attention to that. So yeah, this is one of those where the Wood Elves are going to be quite happy. I know that they had a War Dancer die in this game, but other than that, all the real hitting has been isolated to the loners and the mercenaries. So
and we are going to see a foul here.
Yeah, they're loading up on that right now, and here it comes.
They were successful one time. They killed one already, and that's a stun and sent off. And that really doesn't do much when you have so many Skinks on the sideline anyway.
I'm actually a little surprised that they haven't been doing more fouling with how healthy their Skinks have been.
Yeah.
I actually would have thought that at this point they would have been fouling with the double niggle Skink. He's a lot safer on the sidelines than he is out in the field. I mean, it's just one of those where at this point they only really need 1 AG4 Skink on the field for their rebuttal, maybe 2 if they're going to attempt to pass. But yeah, this is one of those where they were in a good situation early that I think they left an opportunity on the table with not fouling more.
Yeah, and I mean the 2 things that Coach Desai is probably gonna think about here is the inability to score in the first half, and maybe some extra fouling would have been necessary here.
Well, I think they had the opportunity to score. It was one of those where they chose to wait until turn 8 because I mean the threat of a 1 turn by this Wood Elf team is it's very active. They only need the 1 push for the catcher that he's he's 1 chain push away from getting a touchdown at any point. And speaking of touchdowns, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, and I believe that puts him at 11 for the year. So he's at a pretty impressive rate in a 7-game season to rack up over 10 touchdowns. It's really impressive that I believe he has that number. And I believe that somebody else recently has joined him near the top. That he's not alone in the touchdowns, but it's just an ungodly number of touchdowns to put up in such a short time. So I did see one of the KOs wake up for the White Owls, and it looks like the star players rejoined the fight, but the loners are still unimpressed, and this is going to leave a lot of open field out there that these skinks and Sora are going to have plenty of room to roam. They do still have two of the AG4 skinks, and they also have the Blodge skink. So I mean, a lot of talent still left out here, and this is one of those where it's going to be difficult to cover all the players that the Lizardmen can flood up field if they so choose.
Yeah, they are going to throw everything at these elves now. They're just going to move fast up the pitch, and we might see a potato play at some point here. We'll see what happens.
Wow, this is one of those where just looking at the initial setup, it could be one of those where they build like a cage at half field, run the skink into the cage, and then also run a few players upfield. One of the things that always is a bit surprising for people. I think that they look at the Sorai and they go, oh, they're big, heavy guys, and they don't expect them to have that 6 mobility. These Sorai can get upfield quite a ways and really build a bit of a nice heavy screen for the guys to really hide behind, to make it difficult for the players to just go, okay, in a lot of situations you see the high elves, they'll run a catcher upfield and he'll just be by himself, or maybe he's got another catcher in the area, but here they can really hide the skinks among the Sorai. If they get 2 Sorai upfield, it can make it almost impossible to dislodge that skink. And if you're 6 spaces up the field with a skink in between you, that skink with the high mobility can 2-turn it like no effort at all required. So.
But let's not forget that they need two goals now in the last 4 turns. So we are gonna see aggressive play here. The star player came back though. I forgot to mention that. That's a good one though. It's a very, very nice one to get here.
And the kick goes straight to a Sorai.
That is not good.
Well, they can move the Sorai out of that spot, but it's still to the point where, it's in his hands right now. I doubt they're gonna take that catch opportunity away from him, because they can always just do a simple handoff to a skink at the end of this turn, and use that as one corner of a cage if he does catch it. If he doesn't catch it, they weren't expecting it to start with, so no big loss there. And it looks like they're hunting down the treeman a bit here. I'm a little surprised on that one.
Yeah, me too. That treeman is not really a threat to them if they choose to push hard on the sidelines.
Now, the only thing I can think is that these teams, from every indication I've ever heard, is that they're both going to be returning, and they are in the same play pool. They're in the same division in that, so they're going to be continuously playing. So this could be one of those situations where maybe eliminating that skilled treeman may be one of their priorities for next season.
That might be, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the financial situations are for the Wood Elves, but I can't imagine that that they've been carrying around a big bank account when they show up with 4 or 5 loners sometimes.
Yeah, they've been doing that at least half the season too. So.
Yeah, so this is one of those where looks like unsuccessful block on the War Dancer. They were trying to go 2 for 2 and killing War Dancers this game, and came up a bit short so far. So 1 down, 1 to go. But yeah, they've been putting a hitting on War Dancer so far, and I'm not seeing people streak up field quite yet. So it looks like they're gonna try and get the blocks out of the way first and see how that sets up.
That's what he'd say.
But yeah, I'm notorious for saying that you can't score without a guy in scoring position. So I have to imagine we're going to see skinks on the run pretty soon.
I would say so too.
Yeah, this is one of those where they may be taking in, you know, the count of their turns. And I gotta imagine it's going to be difficult to get 2 touchdowns in 4 turns. But yeah, this is one of those where the Seers had a really great season so far, and maybe they're not putting any additional pressure on them to really break in and do any more damage at this point. But yeah, this is if they end up just getting a tie in this game, it'll keep them out of the playoffs. But I don't think you're gonna hear a lot of complaining out of them. I mean, because they had just a prime first season for a Lizardman team coming in.
Absolutely.
You know, the skills that their Sorai put on the fly. I mean, their Sorai did a great job this season so far. Just keeping the skink safe, and then also, I mean, just little by little, if you saw this team at the
skink pass, and that's the last reroll being used.
The ball in flight is
and it's going to be an effective catch, and
it's going to be a potato play here. Or
yeah, you were saying aggressive offense, but this is one of those where this is a full-on potato. He marched all the way up the field. He's just one short on the movement. This is just a heartbreaker. It's just like he got all the way up there, like, look what I'm going to do, and then just came one step short. Oh, my heart breaks for that skink.
It's hard to watch that skink. Yeah, it's probably gonna get smashed now.
I hate to say it. I had a oh gosh, what was I had a gutter runner that was that way. He was movement 9, short feet. He just couldn't get the he couldn't get the one turn, and it was just heartbreaking because I would just do it over and over again to him. Just like, I'm gonna get him there, and he just he comes up one square short, and I'm just like, I keep forgetting he's not a one turner. So yeah, it's just that heartbreaking moment where you can see the guy, he struggled to get the catch, and he finally got it. He was happy as ever, and he marches all the way up, and then just the brakes stop right at the goal line. It's like, oh no, need protection. Where am I, Sorai?
Girdley here in the Twitch chat is asking, has Joe Fro miscalculated he could score? I don't think so. I think it's a true potato play. Try to hope for that one.
This is the finest form of the potato. This is the miniature potato. This is the tater tot. And here comes the hunter coming in. And fails! So this is going to bring out the second reroll of this half, and a double fail.
That's amazing. That's a score.
That is the risk reward of the potato play. You never know when a skink's going to take his tongue out of his mouth and slap a word answer down to the ground.
And
that's
going to bring this to a 1-1
tie. And do you believe in magic? Because the tater tot is going to score. Oh, the word answer stunned. The stew has got to be crushed by that. He was careful with his rerolls the whole way through, and then only the second time he uses it in that half, and a skink come through with just an all-star play for a touchdown. I mean, I thought that skink was as good as dead.
He's so happy. He bounces the ball and hits him in the head. I mean, he's just that was an amazing day for him.
There, yeah. That's one of those magic. That's one of those magic plays where the offense was pretty pretty quiet in the first half. They caged. They slowly worked their way up the field, and this was the exact opposite. This was they sent a skink with the ball up the field like his hair was on fire. I don't even think he has hair, but something looked to be on fire, and it ended up paying off. The methodical, slow approach up the field backfired on him, so they went complete opposite on this one, and I mean, if we're looking at the field, we're one blitz away from the Lizardmen walking out of this one with a win. So
someone is breathing into the mic right now.
It's me, sorry.
Skink. No problem.
That skink. The skink might be out of breath right now. Get him on oxygen.
He's gonna live and tell. If he lives this one, he's gonna tell stories about this for all his friends and all his skink friends and everything. He's gonna tell the stories about that game in the MML in Season 5 last week, that he scored that touchdown against a strip bowling War Dancer, just attacking him, and just when the War Dancer was gonna reach him, he just took him down to the ground.
Well, you know, and the only reason that he's on the field is because the first skink that was out there, you know, that foul, he got caught and got sent off. Other than that, the plus movement skink was on the sideline for the most part of this game, and you know, that was one of his first opportunities to really make an impact, and you know, he shows up big there, and I'm really rooting for him to you know, on his next level get another movement. I think it would be just amazing to see a natural one-turn skink. You know, it would take just an absolute overabundance of luck to get him there. But I think with the MML, we do have one-turn gutter runners. We have a one-turn human catcher. There's rumors of a high elf one-turn catcher, you know, natural out there in the farm. But this would be one of those to see a one-turn skink would be a fitting way to really, you know, solidify the Slaan Seers, you know, into a team that really would be difficult to you know, put back in the farm or put on the shelf.
Oh yeah.
So,
what are we gonna see here?
Where the chat's claiming that there's plenty of Owlz left, but I think they might have just been tuning in late, because if they just saw what the skink did, I don't think the Owlz are going to be trusting their dice all that much right now.
As you say, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and this game isn't over.
Yeah, all the fat women were actually checked at the door and kept out because they didn't want this one ending early. So, are we going to get another wild kickoff event? No, the cheering fans are trying to. Oh, and a bit of a short kick actually stalls out on that, you know, the scorched mark from the early fireball.
Yeah, that fireball wasn't effective. I mean, we've seen lots of effective fireballs in this season so far, but that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, and that was one of those where it was a loaded up fireball. I think they had a good 5-6 players on it, and it was only able to knock 2 of them down, and it didn't even KO any. So, I mean, that's one of those where we've seen fireballs this season that have just been absolute magic, and then we've seen other ones like that where they kind of just came off as a dud. But that was one where the Lizardmen definitely baited them into that fireball. They were putting,
absolutely.
They were putting players out there early trying to get them. Get the fireball cleared off the menu early, and it definitely paid off.
For those listening in, I hope we can get both coaches on after the game for some comments. So if you stick around after the game, you can listen into these coaches' opinion about the game and see what they thought.
Yeah, so far so good. A lot of times you see the Wood Elves right now, they'll end up picking up the ball and relaying it back to the thrower, because if the thrower has to come all the way up there and grab the ball, he's going to lose all of his mobility, and it's going to get mugged by a bunch of Sorai, it looks like. So I got to imagine we're going to see some kind of a dodge back and then possible throw.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they're setting up a bit of a screen here.
Are we going to look at the? It's going to be interesting to see. Run up, pass to the War Dancer. That's what's going to happen.
Well, the War Dancer isn't necessarily out of range yet. But it looks like they're going that route.
Picked up the ball.
Thrower doesn't have a whole lot of oh.
You almost
fancy footwork by the thrower there.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're chucking it back to the War Dancer. Must be happy with the distance. I know the War Dancer is within range of some of these linemen, but it looks like they're out of blitzing range.
Well, you're gonna put the screen there.
Like they're slowly building a screen. And that will keep the War Dancer safe, but they only have 2 scoring threats up the field, and I have to imagine with 4 skinks in the area, maybe one skink or 2 of them move towards the ball to keep hope alive for a win for the Lizardmen. But
yeah,
I mean, they've got enough players that they can pinch these catchers in and really try and lock them down. So.
But the thing is, I mean, for those people joining us late here in the Twitch, This is last week in the league before the playoffs in the MML Pro, and the White Owls just need a tie here to go to the playoffs when the Slaan series needs a win. So even if they try to mark up those catches, I don't think we're gonna see anything similar to that. I think they're gonna move up as many guys as possible here and just try to maybe stop them from getting that ball down there, of course, but nothing fancy against those catchers.
With that attack, it opens up a pocket for the skinks to flood through, and you know, that may have been why they didn't follow that attack up. They're keeping that alleyway open. They look like they're hoping to mug the War Dancer possibly with about three of these skinks. So yeah, this could be one of those where the last ditch effort. And we got
we have a contact them. We see some double ones in this game. I mean, that's something you want to do. You want to put tackle zones so that War Dancer there, even if he has dodge on lead.
And the Crocs jumps into 2 tackle zones. That's gonna lock those players in a little bit more. The one does not have dodge, so there's no built-in reroll. The other one's a star player, but this is slowly taking options away from the Wood Elves here.
Yeah, and we are seeing these catches here being marked up now because, of course, you want to create put some tackle zones on them, so it's harder for them to catch the ball.
Yeah, and this is that situation again where we're gonna see the agility players come over and mark them up, and then I think the biggest question mark right here at this point is where do you put the dive tackle player? Do you mark the dive tackle player on the thrower, or do you put him back on a catcher? I think at this point you go completely. You send your movement guy up, you know, into the area, and then you march your dive tackle guy all the way up and get that mark on the War Dancer to
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
And that's going to lock that player, and that's going to make that dodge away extremely risky at this point. I mean, they do have rerolls in hand, but this is gonna change the entire play coming up.
And those skinks have the movement to reach that War Dancer wherever he goes from now. So, and they're stunties. I mean, even if they're tackle zones between, they can still risk it. And we have 1 turn left for each team here. This is an exciting game. It's a very exciting game.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where I thought coming out of halftime 0-0 that I had a good idea of what this game was going to be. I had no idea. So this blitz is going to clear off the diving tackle, and that was a lesson. Yeah, that was a lesson that we saw can be very dangerous. You know, having diving tackle out there, but this is one of those situations where I don't know if they have enough mobility to really to get this around and thrown. I mean, this is not an easy combination here.
And he gets away.
They're taking the War Dancer up the sidelines, and they're going to try and relay it to the thrower now.
Very interesting place here.
They're going to tempt fate again.
They have the rerolls.
Tackle zones on that, so this is going to be this isn't going to be an easy push in.
Was this a miscalculation, or are we hoping for a good bounce here?
I missed. I had the skills up. I didn't even notice that the Crocs has been hypnotic gazed. So the tackle the tail is no longer in effect. That they're walking clean through. They sized up the option of going with the handoff and decided with the Crocs out of action that they're going to march it forward and go for a throw here. Reroll in hand, automatic catch on the no. We're going to get a reattempt on this.
Second is a success, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting the pass. Now the catch does have a built-in catch.
Oh, and he catches the ball.
Now it's a built-in reroll dodge out.
He gets away, and that's the game.
That's going to be a 2-1 victory for the White Owls. I don't think that the Seers have enough mobility to respond to this.
Some excellent elf play there. I mean, getting from all the way from your own side there up to the other side even, and the hypnotic gaze was used amazingly there. Just an amazing play once again from the Stew here.
Yeah, and that like I said, every time I watch these pro coaches do their elf thing, it's just every time I see it, I just learn something new. It's just one of those where I thought they're going to go with the handoff. I thought they're going to go with the relay. I didn't even see the hypnotic gaze take effect. That caught me by surprise. I have to imagine a couple of people watching the chat might have missed it too.
Yeah, and we're getting questions here. One turner, yes, there could be a one turner here, but the important thing with this game was making the playoffs in MML Pros. So even if the Seers get the one turner here, it doesn't change the outcome of who gets to the playoffs.
Yeah, this is one of those where the damage has been done. That they're gonna, if they can pull off the one turner, and it's not that difficult with the skink with plus movement. Looks like the stew is lining up in traditional one turn prevent defense though, so not an easy situation. No rerolls, so could be a bit risky actually going for it at this point. That both the White Owls will be going to the playoffs. And the Seers are going to be lined up for a bowl game easily now. So
yeah,
this is one of those
we
where
have one situation here though. We have a situation that could happen. We could have a riot right now. They get the one turn touchdown and they get a blitz event the turn after. But yeah, that's a lot of ifs.
That's asking so much that it's just one of those where they would they would have to riot and then blitz, and even then I don't know if it would be enough. It's one of those hope upon hopes kind of scenarios, but I mean, it's one of those where, I mean, I would say, proving the fight that they put in this game, it's you got to look at them in the future as as one of those teams where, I mean, I think the Seers came into this season just kind of hoping to make a season of it, have a couple of good plays, and that I don't think they ever anticipated to excel the way that they did. So I think both teams are going to walk away from this year pretty happy with the way that things went, and I mean, yeah, this is one of those where the Seers, they did everything they could, and in some situations even more than anyone I think expected. So one last chomp out of a Wood Elf for good measure.
That's a badly hurt.
Is still hungry, taking out loners.
Yeah, I mean, the Seers are a new team. They're gonna try to get the last SPPs here. I mean, to get this team even more ready for the bowl game and for the next season. So, because these teams are coming back next season.
Beginning of this season, I was looking at this team, and I was really, I was thinking they weren't gonna be that big of a threat because. Beginning of the year, I think they only had block on maybe one, maybe two of the Sorai, and it was one of those where all of a sudden, halfway through the season, you're looking at them, and I think in 1 week they added block to their Crocs and two of their Sorai, and it was just one of those where this team really pulled together after they got the Sorai all leveled up and blocked on. So it's really became a completely different team looking at them now. Because there's no soft points, there's no weaknesses. I mean, they've got the skinks they need to get rid of the teams that want to do some skink hunting. Yeah. I mean, it's just they've really turned into a team that in the beginning of this year it looked like a team that had just stepped onto the field, and now you look at them now, and it's a team that looks like they are pro ready for for this season and a bunch moving forward. So I think the Seers are going to be happy with their results that they got this season, and I mean they're going to be ecstatic, I think, moving forward next season. And
for sure.
I really think it's going to be difficult for Frost to really get rid of this team after the success he's had. That it's going to take a couple of players dying or a really rough season to get him to move on to the Necro like I think he really planned on. So yeah, I have to imagine the Seers may be around for another 2 seasons with pretty good success before he gets a Necro team built up the way that he wants.
Just look at the season the Seers have had. They have faced 3 dwarf teams. I think 2 of them are in at least 1800 TV. One is close to 1900 TV. Have faced orcs that is around that level too, with so many skills. I mean, it's just been a hellish season, and still come through so good with no skilled up players more or less in the beginning. We have the coaches here, I hope. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's hear from Josiah first here. What do you feel about the game?
Oh, well, diving tackle, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Diving tackle.
Diving tackle, the
I can't believe I
hardest
missed
skill
that.
to remember.
The worst bit is I looked over Stu's team earlier as well, and I thought, oh yeah, must remember. The last thing I do before I do anything else is remember the diving tackle. And so, sure enough, the last thing I did was not forget the diving tackle. So I did forget the diving tackle, yeah. So I did that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. But it was a really good game. Stu played amazingly, of course. I mean, you know, that hypnotic gaze on the clocks as well. I just winced. Did you see my face when that happened? I was like, oh, it's all over now.
We both missed it.
Yeah, I was completely oblivious to the hypnotic gaze until after it happened, and I was like, wait a minute, what's that? It was like I had that moment of recovery. It's like, oh my god, that's a thing now. I see the eyeball. I'm sure that the Seers are used to a different eyeball, not the hypnotic gaze eyeball.
Well, indeed, I think that's why Clockslanther was very confused. He was like, what's this eye talking to me now? It's not the usual eye. Yeah, exactly. Look into my eyes, look into my eyes, look into my eyes. Oh dear. Yeah, well, that's okay. Yeah, and I'm really glad, like you said, that like you said, I mean, I'm really happy with the season I've had. I'm really happy that I'm probably going to get a bowl game. So yeah, absolutely move on. I have to slightly correct you. I've never had any intention of playing a Necro team. I think you've confused me with someone else, but don't worry about it.
I could have swore that you were one of the people that was anticipating Necro or something else.
That's another lizard
like
coach. Yeah. Don Eagle, I think.
No, I'm quite committed to the Seers moving forward. I'm really happy with what they've done. You know what I mean? So, I have no intention of changing anytime soon. Although, yeah, I to be honest, I echo everything you said. When we came into the season, looking at those dwarf teams, I think it was you shots I was talking to, and I was just going, oh my word. And then, yeah, and last week playing Thunder, and I was really looking forward to bashing some elves this week. To be honest, I got some fun out of it. That was good.
That's very good.
But Stu's just amazing.
Yeah, and I think your Croc's got a real shot in the arm. I know they got a couple of good hits out there, got some SPP off that, and he also wound up at the MVP, so he may be finding that fourth level a little bit faster after this game.
Oh, awesome.
So just a little... Just a little rainbow after the thunderstorm there. yeah.
Fnod's earlier was saying, oh, that's risky with the Cox. You know the Cox has got block right, Fnod, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking about the loner anyway, you know.
Double skulls,
double skulls, you know.
So double skulls would have done it for me, yeah, well. Yeah. Loner, you know. I mean, you know, I love my Cox. The Cox is to hit things, it's fine.
It's very nice. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think I want to hear from Stu actually, because but I said, to be honest, I went into this game. I listened to the podcast last night, and Don Eagle and Jest were predicting that I was going to lose, and they were right. And but I think I did well. I think I did pretty good. I was desperate to win, but. Hats off to Stu. I knew it was going to be difficult, so that's what.
Very entertaining game to watch and to comment on. Very entertaining game.
Yeah, it definitely it ramped up. The caging in the first half was real tactful. Slowly worked up the field. You got robbed on the touchdown by a diving tackle, but it's one of those where this was definitely a game where. I'm looking forward to seeing this matchup again next season and moving forward, because I believe you're in the same division or that you'll be in reoccurring play pools.
Oh yeah, I'm not planning to change anything. I mean, I'm just gonna go back in dwarfs and all. You know, I'm hoping to play Fnods. I was denied the opportunity to play against the Undead with the Seers, so I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Will I get that opportunity? I don't know. Will you be in the same play pool next season, Fnods?
Are you Death Valley or
I don't know actually.
Or are you? I can't remember which one of you. I think the
I'm Death Valley.
The undead replaced in the Death Valley. So
we can do a friendly.
Stick around for 3 seasons and you'll be back around.
We can do a friendly one. We can do a friendly. I think in the off season here.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good. I want to do a friendly Seers versus the Walking Dead reanimated. Yeah, I want a chance to test the Seers against the Undead. To be honest, yeah, that'd be good.
Let's bring in Stu.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Stu. You there?
Oh yeah, hi.
Hi there, mate.
Well played, man. Well played, man. I'm going to shut
Thank
up now.
you,
Let
you
you
too.
guys talk.
Wow,
First
that
of all,
was
thank you for an
really,
amazing
really
game.
hard. Yeah, no problem. Whenever you want, if it lets me win. No, that was probably like last game I played, the one just before, the one I played versus the Undead, versus Yufnor.
Yep.
I remember the first part where all the rolls were going for you. I was like so happy, let's say it that way, when you blue screen or DC.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I could
okay,
have saw that.
I'm gonna have my tree back. That's the only thing I was thinking. I want my tree. And like, I started the game and I followed my defensive game plan, and I was so proud that I was able to not let you score. And I was like 0-0 at the first half. I was really, really proud because it's hard to do so. And then
Yeah.
I'm starting this game versus him, and I'm just thinking, wow, I have the Wizard, I have Eldril, he has only Strength 2, he has no sure hands. I'm gonna steal that ball 5 times. No, that did not happen. The Wizard was a complete fail. Then, the only hit I get on the ball, the scatters goes between 6 lizards. I'm like, no way I'm gonna get that ball. So then I start playing defense. I'm just gonna wait the perfect time to leap in, strip ball, and run away. You never gave me that chance. Never.
And instead, Sorner, this amazing player, I mean, this seriously amazing player in MML, he just comes up, marks up the ball carrier, and dive tackles him. I mean, he's your top scorer, he's your top defender. What can't this guy do?
Well, to be honest, that player, the first time when I built this team, I had in thinking that I'm going to have 2 runners that are going to be on defense, 2 runners that are going to be on offense. And he was built to be my #1 defense catcher. But the thing is, he happened to get that movement advance, and then, well, game after game, he got a touchdown here, got a touchdown there. Then he managed to have good stats, and I got that game with the 5 touchdowns with him. And I'm like, okay, the guy is going to be my scorer. But he already had wrestle, and I was thinking wrestle is not good to score. I cannot have a score with wrestle because he's just going to get both down, wrestled. Oh, I lose the ball. So that's why I gave him block, because I was thinking he was going to be the defensive one, and he became the offense one.
Oh, that explains it. But you heard our conversation about the block and wrestle combo. I mean, you have some serious offensive tools in being able to choose between those two now.
It's really, really useful, but I must give you guys that it is bloat. I mean, when I selected block, I forgot that I had wrestle. You know, that kind of long moment that you just forget about something? I forgot I had wrestle, and I'm like, okay, well, block and wrestle. It's really bloaty, but it's fun to be able to choose.
If it makes you feel any better, if he would have only had wrestle, he would have been down on the ground when when that touchdown would have been going in. So you know, that slight oversight of picking block on a wrestle player may have paid off big time in this game, because I think it really changed the second half with his diving tackle being in place there.
I think that player has a life of his own.
Starting second half with a 0-0 tie game, I don't have the pressure to score because I just need a tie to go on. If he leads 1-0, I have the pressure to score, and then I get a rock on my thrower. My offense was dead at that moment. I was like, okay, he's getting injured, I'm getting screwed. Like, when I saw his name appear under a thrown rock, it's like, okay, it's gonna happen. He's gonna get injured, he's gonna die. And the reason I was thinking that is because I have this bad luck when my wife is around and looks at me play this game. I have so much bad luck, you can't even imagine. It's crazy. And she was looking at the game today, so I was thinking, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose this. But actually, it went not too bad.
I just must say, what a roller coaster of a season you have had. I mean, losing so many players. I mean, being down in numbers against all these bashy teams, the most bashy conference play pool. I mean, have there been bashier in the history of the MML? I mean, 3 dwarf teams, 1 orc team, and just horrible for your Wood Elves. And The blue screen against me. I mean, you just had a roller coaster of a ride here.
Oh yeah, and like I told you when you told me that you were salty, I felt you because when I played my match versus Shots, first half I was leading 1-0. I got the blitz. I was going to catch the ball. He disconnected, and he injured none of my players. He maybe KO'd 1 or 2. So I was on turn 7. I had the blitz. I was gonna run in second score with no injury, and then he DC'd. I give him okay. We'll replay. First 2 turns, I have 4 injured players.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
I'm looking
And
forward
that
to
really
these
decided the
games.
rest of the season.
That one, I gotta be honest. Yeah, that one, I felt guilty on that one. I'm like, I had no control over any of it, but it was one of those where I'm like, after the injuries started piling up, I'm like, oh, this feels so bad. This feels wrong because he owned me 7 turns, and now it's like the dice completely flipped. It was just I think that one ended up being a tie in that, and For me, that like that tie, it felt like if I would have won that, it would have felt wrong. I guess it's just because I got completely owned the first time, and it was just one of those where you're nice enough to replay it and that, and it was just it was tough. With the replay, I actually started off. I was like, I'm gonna try and set the record. Like I was like I should have lost. So like I was planning on going for 10 passes that game and trying to complete all of them. So
Exactly.
that probably would have been if I would have kept the ball for a couple turns longer, that would have been the game where Jest would have got his 2 interceptions because I was just airing it out every chance I could.
But to come back to this game, it was an incredible game. I had 2 options. Like, I had all my rerolls. I had 2 choices to get that skink down when he potatoed. Either I go with the tackle piece, or I go with my other one that 5 results out of 6, you lose the ball. So I was like, but I had to go for it. I'm like, okay, the dodge out, I can manage. I have my auto reroll for both of the players. Which one I do, and I really hesitated to bring my tackle player before, but then I was just thinking, I didn't have a single 1 in 36 since the beginning of the game. I'm like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna have that 1 in 36. It's gonna happen. And it happened.
I hate to say it, but you were right. It did happen.
I have Thundera Ho was getting a raise. There was one thing I was desperate, but it wasn't it was a potato. Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
I did plan to, and I did actually manage to get a tackle zone on every single elf that was in the range. I know it's an 80. I know they've still got that 80%. I know it wasn't having a tackle zone on an elf isn't much, but I did manage to put a tackle zone on every single elf before.
But you really did manage to play in my head on that play because I had many options of plays that I could do. And I had no clue which one I was going to go with because I was always thinking I didn't need to use one single reroll yet. It's going to happen. I'm going to fail this one because it's the important play. I'm going to fail it.
I'm just going to ask a question here. It might be a very stupid one, but if you use a strip ball player and you get a push result with pushing the player with the ball into the touchdown zone, is it a score? When does he lose the ball? After you move to the square or what's happening there?
That's a good question.
I never tried it. I never tried it, so I have no clue. But from what I think, you lose the ball as soon as I push you because of the strip ball, but I'm not sure.
I would think so, but I don't know either. Do you know shots?
It could have been interesting to push him in and still holding the ball, getting the touchdown and losing the ball after.
I have to imagine that Discord's going to have an answer for that one, but yeah, as far as I know, I would think that he loses possession at the point of attack. But that being said, the easiest way to tell would be to just line it up in the farm and have a go at it.
Yeah.
And try to do a friendly match and you give it a try, whatever.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Anyway, I mean, I was just thinking about that. It's been an interesting thing because the animation triggers the ball, losing the ball triggers after you move to the square.
Yeah, but I would never have tried it. I thought about it. And I was, okay, I have to come by that angle because I don't want to push him in the scoring line because I didn't know either. Well, anyway, very entertaining game. Happy to announce this one.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks, Shots,
it was
thanks
my
Mike for
absolute
announcing.
joy.
Oh, Mike's not. Sorry, thanks, Shots, thanks Mods for announcing it. It was brilliant. You guys were amazing as always. So yeah, really grateful.
Thank
for that
you,
as well,
Joe.
so.
You killed the War Dancer. I'm
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
sorry
happy
about
about it. I'm kind of happy about it because I have the intention of buying a new War Dancer.
Yeah, I
And
knew
when I
that.
got told that I had to fire one, I was like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to buy a lineman with Blodge and I'm going to be happy. But now he's dead, so I'm going to buy him.
I know. I saw that. I saw that discussion actually about it. But I'm not saying I did it because of that. I did it because I wanted to kill the War Dancer. But I wanted to.
Well,
I didn't want to kill him. I wanted
this-
to hurt him bad.
Hey, guys. Slick and dirty. Add G5.
Oh,
Certainly
what? Nice one.
Really?
Deep into
Agi 5 catcher, that's not right.
Bloodweiser
not
CEO
right.
Oh,
just
that's just that. That's a nightmare for everyone.
That's very good. So,
Get out of my play pool, you guys. I don't want any more Agi 5. The Blitzkriegers have enough of that.
They do.
Hey, they're almost all dead this season.
Yeah, we did our job.
Could have killed more orcs and dwarfs, though. I'm a little bit disappointed.
Me too.
Well, I got my share. I got my share of dwarfs. Just the orcs did a number on me. I mean, the Titans are a monster of a different breed. So yeah, that's. I think they're going to be a tough one to trim down ever. So you better hope that the Titans leave the league before you anticipate somebody trimming them down.
my strength 6 blodging mummy is gonna go. Hope I get first game against them then next season, and I can trim some of those orcs away.
Wait a minute, did you say strength 6?
Strength 6 blodge mummy.
I had
Who let that happen?
I had the extreme. I had the extreme pleasure of announcing that match, Fnord's match last night, and it is a filthy thing to behold. Yeah. although he was tied down. He was tied down a lot last night, sadly. But I'm I'm sure his time is coming. I'm sure his time is coming.
It doesn't have break tackle, does it?
No, it's the next one, probably with the dodge. So yeah, he can break any cage then.
Did you know?
I'm just glad it doesn't have tentacles.
It's around in modern state
incoming.
since the last decade.
Anyway, anyone have anything else to say before we stop the broadcast?
Thank you very much.
No,
I
thank you very
appreciate
much.
letting us call it. It was a great game. That was one of those where it went back and forth, and it really could have been anybody's match. It was just great coaching on both halves, and I'm looking forward to seeing this become a bit of a rivalry in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I had my rivalry with MML. Now it's the Seers.
Yeah, I was told I had to have a rivalry with the White House, so that's good. I'm down with that. Absolutely. I hate those pointies.
For those that have been sticking around all this time listening to us, go on here.
Yeah.
If you like what you've seen, this is the MML Pro. Go to mmlpro.com. There's articles, there's statistics, there's everything there. You can read about these teams, these players. We are twitching, we are streaming a lot of our games, so just tune in, watch it, and you can even join us. We have a Discord server. The information is on our site. Just come play with us.